Hey guys, and how about we watch Weiss vs. Mitsuru Death Battle? I still don't know that much about Mitsuru, I'll admit. I got a little bit of a gist from people. Apparently she's fought like a death god, like something with control over life and death. I don't know exactly what that entails, especially in the Persona world, but it sounds very impressive, as opposed to Weiss, who I know she hasn't really won any fights, but the way she fights is still really impressive. But, given the obvious information around me, I'll probably have to say that Mitsuru has a better chance here. Again, that's just common sense from what I have heard. Regardless, it's not up to me who will win, it's up to these guys, and I might get it right, I might get it wrong, I don't know. But either way, let's start our show. Play. The card game again. Still not really looking forward to this card game. Not gonna lie, I don't want to be mean, but it's a little bit weird. Oh, weapons, armor, and skill. At least that's fun.
They're as cold as ice. They're willing to sacrifice.
Today, we're pitting together two queens of ice born into powerful, if troubled, families.
Weiss Schnee, heiress to the Schnee Dust Company and member of the Huntress Team Ruby.
And Mitsuru Kirijo, heiress to the Kirijo Group and member of the Persona-wielding Seas.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Alright.
The world of Remnant is known for many things. The vicious creatures called Grimm, the hunters and huntresses committed to fighting them, and the Schnee family.
Yeah, they're kinda like royalty, and their princess
sort
is
of.
Weiss Schnee. As the heiress to the family company, she grew up in a pretty cold
They're
home.
just one of the biggest companies in the world.
The Schnee family expected
It's
a lot
like
from Weiss.
Diesel.
It was considered essential that she live up to their highly influential name.
Too bad for them, she had her own plans.
Rejecting her father's wishes to remain at home, Weiss left to attend Beacon Academy and train to become a huntress, literally putting the W in Team Ruby. Within just a year, Weiss established her own name for herself, saving the kingdom on more than one occasion, and doing so with her trusty blade, Myrtanaster.
And that's McHugh. Merc Nasty here is a multi-action rapier with a 3-foot-long blade. But guess what?
3 feet.
It's also a gun. Instead of a plain old crossguard, it's got a 6-slot revolver.
You know, it's much bigger than I
that Weiss fills with
realized
bullets
in
colored
that
like
case.
The rainbow.
Well, they're not exactly bullets. They are vials of dust, which she can fire to enhance her weapon and skills. Ironically, the Schnee Dust Company is by far one of the largest producers and exporters of dust.
Wait. They sell dust? I got a ton of that shit covered in the bookshelf in my trailer. I can sell it and finally have enough money to buy a second bookshelf. Just
No, not that kind of dust. In the world of Remnant, dust is an energy source.
You know, just use the money to buy a new bookshelf.
Wait, you have books?
When did I say anything about books?
Well, long story short, there are 4 main
He's
types
gonna
of
make a
dust:
business off
air,
of selling the
lightning,
dust
fire,
from his
and
bookshelves.
And Weiss likes to mix water and air together for her favorite, ice dust.
It's just gonna turn into a tycoon
is
game.
why they call you the Ice Queen.
Ha.
She can also attack with fire, launch a windstorm, block attacks with barriers, and many other techniques. Needless to say, Myrtanaster is a surprisingly versatile weapon.
She also uses dust to boost her semblance, which is basically her X-Men superpower. Weiss gets hers from her family line and can do a bunch of stuff with it.
She can make glyphs on surfaces or in the air, each with a different color denoting its ability. Black glyphs hold things in place, while white ones propel things forward. Also, by infusing glyphs with dust, she can manipulate their effects. For example, a touch of lightning dust lets her dilate time,
Wait, that's how that-
dramatically increasing her
Is that
speed.
really how it
Or even
works?
better, she can
I'm
use the
skeptical
glyphs
on
to
if that's
summon
how it
monsters
works.
to aid her in battle, Beastmaster style, like this crazy boar, a giant killer wasp, and the Armagigas.
Which literally translates to giant armor in Latin, so fitting.
Damn, just imagine how great her family could be if they all didn't hate each other. Unlimited dust, giant bodyguards you could summon anytime, and they'd never be stuck with warm beer.
Unfortunately, the Schnee family does suffer from some rocky relationships, with the exception of Weiss and her older sister, Winter.
Wait, go back. Is
No,
her
that's
dad
still a
Colonel
little bit
Sanders?
shaky.
I guess there's a certain resemblance.
KFC, KF Schnee? No wonder they're so rich.
Where did you get that chicken?
What? You don't carry pocket chicken?
So back on topic, Weiss has a very powerful and versatile ability, and like most semblances, it's powered by her aura.
Which is like an invisible shield around her body. She's basically unkillable while it's up.
Though the aura itself isn't indestructible, it can be depleted after taking a lot of damage and needs time to restore itself. Without it, she cannot use her semblance, and she's much more vulnerable.
But that aura is pretty friggin' tough. It was just enough to take a full-on hit from a geyser of lava.
Lava can reach temperatures up to 1,200 degrees Celsius, enough to melt iron. And during a food fight of all things, she was thrown into a pillar so hard it was obliterated.
Hey Wiz, I've been in a few food fights in my time, and that shit gets intense. And that one's tame by comparison.
But greatest of all, with a combination of ice and her aura, she survived riding atop a speeding train crashing through concrete. By measuring the diameter of the resulting hole and applying the values of fragmentation, this means Weiss survived an impact equal to over 7 tons of TNT.
But it's not just Weiss
not
that's
bad.
tough. Her glyphs are strong enough to catapult the Armagigas, and with her ice powers, she's knocked around a giant mech built for fighting Godzilla-sized Grim.
Compared to the height of her teammate nearby, it appears she created over 2,000 metric tons of ice. Obviously, that much ice doesn't fit into 2 vials of dust. She's likely using the ocean as a base to exert fusion energy and vaporization energy on the nitrogen. in the
Probably
air,
right.
thereby
I don't
freezing
know.
It like so.
Yeah.
At most,
Yeah.
this would require over 900 billion joules of energy, equivalent to detonating around 230 tons of TNT.
What?
Wow! No wonder she could push that
She
big
just
old
knocked
robot
it off
around.
balance.
Plus, Weiss can also move
I don't know.
super quick, dodging missiles and even hitting bullets out of the air.
And with time dilation, she can stay nearly untouchable while taking out her opponents in the blink of an eye.
Like that old saying, float like an inner tube
No,
on a
what?
lazy river and sting like your pee in the morning.
Please go to a doctor. Throughout her journey,
The
Weiss has
meteors,
overcome all
what?
sorts of dangers, but her most difficult task may have been the moment her father cut her out of the family, leaving her financially broke and dismissed from her birthright.
Ah, boo-hoo, no more allowance. Still, she's powered through and made a name for herself as a huntress. With the Ruby team at her back,
not yet.
I think she's found the family
Maybe soon.
she truly
Maybe soon,
belongs
but not
to.
yet.
I'm more than a name.
In the early 2000s, you'd be hard-pressed to find
The
someone in Japan who
231,
didn't know of the
that's what
Kirijo
they said,
group,
right?
A global conglomerate.
Either way,
involved
knocking
in
the
nearly
robot
every
off balance,
aspect
I
of
think they
daily
might
life.
have overestimated
And the heiress to
that.
this impressive company was a young girl named Mitsuru Kirijo.
But unknown
There's
to
no
her,
way.
the family
Just-
company was into some pretty sketchy stuff. Her grandpa started
Maybe?
experimenting
I don't
with
know.
some sort of mental world
Sounds iffy.
called the Mind Place.
Or more officially, the collective unconscious, a realm connected to every living being's subconscious mind. And within the collective unconscious dwells shadows, fragments of human psyche which often appear as malevolent monsters.
They're basically demons.
Kind of. However, there's another sort more directly integrated with the minds of individual people, effectively becoming their shadow selves.
So some of them are demons who want to kill you, and some of them are demons who are part of your brain?
Close enough.
Well, Gramps tried to get the shadows for himself, but as anyone who's tried to summon demons will tell you, don't do that.
Don't do
Trust
that.
me, it never works out. And when it does, it doesn't.
Chaos Incarnate erupted. The resulting explosion from his experiment released the shadows into reality to prey on an unsuspecting populace, and unveiled the Tartarus, a citadel between worlds. The Earth was drastically changed with a new dark hour, an extra hour of time occurring at midnight.
Most folks didn't notice, though. The world basically freezes in time during the dark hour,
Okay.
including people. So nobody's got to pick up a new 25-hour clock, because when the hour runs up, everything continues like nothing happened. It's like getting an extra hour of secret sleep.
But some people are able to operate during this hour, including Mitsuru, which she decided to take full advantage of.
Yeah, she felt pretty guilty about her family basically ruining everything and sending hundreds of murder monsters into the world. So she swore to fix her grandpappy's mess.
And while she's certainly skilled with a rapier thanks to her time in fencing club, a single sword would never be enough to combat the hordes of shadows. Luckily, her first experience with the Dark Hour helped her out in this regard.
They even mentioned
That's
the...
one way to put it. She and her dad were almost murdered by spooky shadows.
But this event also led to an awakening. With the threat of death itself mere
I'm sorry to
seconds
interrupt
away,
this. Did they even
Mitsuru
mention the
dug
Queen
deep
Lancer?
within and found a new
They might have
weapon.
mentioned it, but I don't think they
Shadow
actually went into it at
That's
all.
how she
They went
became
much more
a
into the
person
Armageddon.
user.
Persona user.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Thanks to this fateful night, Mitsuru can summon a manifestation of her personality known as a persona. This was Penthesilea, who would eventually evolve into her ultimate form, Artemisia.
Artie is the best non-imaginary friend you could ask for. She's got all sorts of powerful ice spells. She can heal Mitsuru's wounds. She can drain someone's energy and add it to Mitsuru's own. And she can blow people up with mega deal. It's a big purple kaboom that ignores special defenses. Anyway, and to top it all off, she's got a kinky ice whip.
While Artemisia cannot really be killed, she does have her limits. When a persona is overtaxed or takes too much damage, it becomes broken and unusable for a short time.
And since Artemisia is technically part of Mitsuru's mind, when the persona gets hurt, so does she.
But
All
this
right.
connection also grants Mitsuru her own set of special powers. She's physically superior to most others. She can also sense the locations of people and layouts of buildings through analytical clairvoyance. She's also immune to ice and the cold, so I'm not really sure why she needs that giant fur coat.
Everyone needs a good fur coat, Wiz. Come on.
I guess. It is a pretty nice coat. Anyway, Mitsuru wasn't going into battle alone. She gathered a team of Persona users to form the Specialized Extracurricular Execution Squad, or SEAS, which is much easier to say. The team set out to explore Tartarus, combat the shadows, and put an end to the Dark Hour. While also
Put an
scoring
end
some
to the
extra
Dark
credit
Hour.
because it was technically an after-school club.
Japanese schools are way more hardcore than ours.
And with a team at her back, Mitsuru needed a tool to reliably summon personas with. And so came
wonder if that
the
ever-
Evoker, which might be a little disturbing to some people, so fair warning.
Yeah, it looks just like a gun, and that's kind of the point. The idea is to use the gun to create an extremely traumatic experience similar to how Mitsuru first evoked her own persona.
Specifically, this is accomplished by aiming the thing at your face and pulling the trigger.
What?
Yeah, that's definitely not how guns are supposed to work.
Questionable concepts aside, Mitsuru and her persona are an absolute terror on the battlefield.
Oh, God! Did she just cut off that thing's dick?
Yes, she did, Boomstick. And
What?
it was a goddamn cannon.
Oh, the horror, but also cannon dick.
Mitsuru is quick enough to dodge gunfire. Heck, another persona user is even fast enough to outrun a bullet fired by a magnum.
Those usually have a muzzle velocity of over 360 meters per second.
And personas can
And that
move
was, like,
even
easily.
faster.
Did you see him?
Neonos
He
can
was
react to
styling on
catch
that bullet.
An arrow in milliseconds, and Mitsuru has defeated her in battle.
But hey, how about that time Mitsuru and her whole team survived an explosion that totally wrecked this whole bridge? Now, in my humble opinion, using my very own handcrafted munitions measurement chart, I'd say this blast falls somewhere in the range of, oh shit, we're dead.
Interesting, but let's use some real science now.
This is real science. I tested explosions and their real effects on real people, just like you would. I'm a real scientist now.
But that's... Wait, real people? Boomstick? Where are the interns?
Hey, look, I got you that coat that you wanted.
Ooh, thank you! Oh, it's so soft.
So are the interns.
Yeah.
Wiz, there's one more math thing you got to do. By working with another persona
I'm
user,
sorry.
Yukari, Mitsuru helped freeze up this giant, creepy puppet monster.
Uh-oh.
Well, again,
Uh-oh.
taking nitrogen into account as it comprises 70% of air's makeup, we can apply its required fusion energy and vaporization energy to find
I'm
this
sorry, the
equivalent
vaporization energy
output
is
equal to
something-
60 kilotons of TNT. Though this can't all be attributed to Mitsuru, as she did have help.
That's
Yeah.
still a hell of a lot of ice. Mitsuru and Artemisia sure make a powerful pair.
And
Yeah.
even after successfully ending the Dark Hour and redeeming her family name, Mitsuru continued
It goes over
battling
my
for
head.
people
That's what I'm
everywhere,
trying to say.
one
I
shadow
can't
at a time.
fully
This
figure
appears
it
to
out.
be just the beginning.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, I'm all out of pocket chicken, so let's get something better with Blue Apron.
By now, you've probably heard of Blue
Oh, yeah.
Apron, the leading meal
Yeah,
kit
we
delivery
have.
service in the U.S.
Choose your meals each week, get the ingredients delivered to your doorstep.
I think
and
60
whip up a
kilotons
meal
is
using
better.
the easy-to-follow directions provided.
Better than anything
With an
Weiss has
ever-changing
done.
mix of meat, fish, and vegetarian recipes to choose from, you're all set for a tasty
Yeah,
summer.
I
Who
still
has
think
time to
Mitsuru.
think up meal plans
I
and
do
go
still
get the
think
ingredients
Mitsuru.
yourself anyways. Not me! This way I cut out all the boring stuff and get right to the awesome parts.
It's been a huge help
Again,
to
the
both my
knocking
schedule
the
and my
giant
eating
robot
habits.
off balance
There's
is something
plenty of
that
wholesome and
I,
healthy choices to pick from. And if
I
you're
don't know.
not very
So weird for them
experienced in the
to
kitchen, this is a great
bring
way
up
to
in
learn some
my
new
opinion.
recipes.
My favorite part is feeling like a master chef, making creative and delicious meals with my own hands. You guys really need to try it out.
It's pretty nice coming home knowing I'll have a delicious meal I can whip up with ease. To start making delicious, brag-worthy meals at home without the hassle, try Blue Apron.
Check out this week's menu and get
Why does Blue
$60
Apron like
off
Death
at
Battle so much?
blueapron.com/battle. That's blueapron.com/battle.
I think that's a mystery that no one will ever solve.
But right now, it's time for a death battle!
We're already fighting. I would like to have seen how this started.
Such good form. You fight with a sense of ease. Thank you, but flattery will get you nowhere.
All right.
Fighting me with ice? Ironic. And a waste of time. Artemisia!
Can't touch me, Ice Queen.
All right.
So that's what it's like.
Well, there it goes. The animation isn't bad, per se. Now we're getting the real fight. Listen, Queen Lancer isn't bad, but... the Armagigas is so much cooler. The only issue I have with this is sort of the,
As annoying as this was,
the camera work is a little bit
you
iffy.
fought valiantly, but now you'll fall by my own hand.
I can do this on my own.
Artemisia! No mercy!
How strong are you?
Strong enough.
Well, there we go. Oh, that wasn't nearly brutal enough. Sorry.
Well, Wiz, I'm glad we got these coats, because that was cool.
Weiss was incredibly skilled. Her versatility certainly proved a challenge for Mitsuru, and she held a decent advantage in speed thanks to time dilation. Though to be fair, Mitsuru's analytical clairvoyance meant it would have been pretty difficult for Weiss to get the jump on her. Plus, Naota's persona had to move around Mach 7 to catch that arrow in such a short amount of time, so Artemisia must be capable of similar speeds.
Yeah, but slowing down time seems like an instant win move, doesn't it?
In some ways, yes, but we look for who can win the most matches overall, not just a couple times out of 1,000 possibilities thanks to one good move.
Yeah, even though Weiss
Weird.
had plenty of attack
Wait.
options, Mitsuru's defenses were just too strong. Like how she completely canceled Weiss's ice attacks.
This presented a unique problem for Weiss, who has always been fairly reliant on ice techniques. She was forced to use dust, which she has less experience with.
Plus, Weiss and her summons have never dealt damage anywhere close to that "oh shit, we're dead" explosion Mitsuru
Yeah.
survived. By taking the diameter of the blast here and comparing it to real-life nukes, then considering how far Mitsuru was from the center of it, she took a hit worth over 21 tons of TNT. Definitely higher than Weiss's 7-ton train feat.
Frankly, Mitsuru's survivability and power output outclassed Weiss. Even if we cut her major ice feat in half since she was aided by Yukari, Mitsuru still output 130 times more energy than Weiss
Yeah.
when she attacked that mech.
But numbers aren't everything, right?
Sure, there's always a new way to look at things. For instance, Weiss's arsenal was limited by her aura and dust supply, while Mitsuru had no such constraint on her own powers.
It takes a long time to restore aura, and remember, when a persona gets broken, it can just come back a few seconds later.
Which was extremely useful, as Artemisia could heal Mitsuru at any time, undoing whatever progress Weiss had made.
Oh man, what an ice-cold move!
While Weiss's speed and versatility put up a good fight, Mitsuru's
I'm sorry,
greater
they
defense,
could have
raw
gotten.
power, and
They could have had
reliable
Weiss
arsenal proved
shatter
too
or
much
something
for the
like that.
Hunters.
It was a little bit.
Yeah, no chance.
So,
The
no.
winner is Mitsuru Kirijo.
Ugh.
Hey,
That
thanks
was
for
a
watching
dumb
Death
pun.
Battle. Don't
Anyway.
go away just yet. We're about to announce the next fight. And if
They
you
could have
haven't
had
seen
like
the
a
latest
Weiss
episode
shatter
of our
into pieces
podcast,
or
the
something.
Death
It was
Battle
very
cast, you can
tame.
click it
It was
right
like
there.
very, very tame. Oh, Captain Falcon! Oh boy. Listen, Johnny Cage isn't that cool to see, but Johnny Cage versus Captain Falcon. Wow. Wow. Okay. I do think that Johnny Cage is probably gonna win because he fights a lot more powerful people, but Captain Falcon himself, just based off memory, I think he's shown the more impressive stuff, just, again, on his own. Johnny fights with gods, though. It's a little bit ridiculous, but he does it. Ha! Yeah, I think Johnny Cage will win that fight. But, Captain Falcon in Death Battle should be, fun to see, I'll admit that much. Alright, I agree with this fight. Again, it was a little bit weird to even bring up, knocking the robot off balance, in my opinion. I don't know, it's a little bit strange. I feel like the ice just being there, it would be one thing if she just punched it out of the way, or if she did a blast of ice, but no, the ice appeared underneath it. I feel like there are more explanations that could be given. But whatever. It frankly didn't matter for this fight. Again, I feel like they should have been a little bit more brutal with the ending, and I did not like at all that it just sort of started with them already fighting. Like, it's one thing not to have a backstory for the fight, to have just two people appear in the same place and start fighting, but we didn't even see the start of the fight. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for me. If you want to see more of my videos in the future, you can subscribe, but otherwise, I'll just see all of you in the next video. How I sound clearing my throat.